Coming up on today's Philadelphia Eagles. Now, there are four critical things that happened for the Philadelphia Eagles yesterday that are huge for this team moving forward. A lot of takeaways after that win against the Cleveland Browns. I'm Chase Sr. Thanks for hanging out and watching us here on Eagles Now. Hope everybody had a great weekend and your weeks are off to a great start. So four big things that transpired in that victory against the Browns. Let's start off with number one. It was Jalen Hurts' performance and his bounce back. And hopefully this can set the tone for the Eagles quarterback for the remainder of the 2024 season and in turn set the tone and get this offense in rhythm. Hurts against Cleveland. Very good defense, might I add. Jim Schwartz does a really good job with that scheme. Hurts was 16 of 25, 264 yards, 10.5 yards per completion, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and a quarterback rating of 126.1. And when this game started, we thought that Hurts reverted back to what he did against Todd Bowles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And you're thinking, Hurts just isn't the guy. Hurts is struggling once again. Are the Eagles going to be looking for a quarterback? And obviously, the answer to that question is not solved yet. We're not sure long-term if Jalen Hurts is a franchise guy, if he's still elite, if he can turn back the clock to the 2022 season. But this was a pretty good start in this game against a high-caliber defense. Hurts started the game 0 for 5. Everybody starts panicking. The Eagles on those first 2 drives, they were anemic, and they looked terrible. But then after those first 2 drives, in which Hurts was 0 for, Hurts finished the game 16 of 20. He completed 80% of his passes. He compiled 297 total yards, 2 touchdowns, and a passer rating of 152.1. But some of the nuances of this game point to really good quarterback play. And obviously with Hurts, he has been a turnover machine throughout his career in a way, but going back to the start of the 2023 season. In this game against Cleveland, Hurts had no giveaways. He had 27 turnovers in 22 games going into Sunday's matchup. That was a massive point of emphasis for Hurts, Kellen Moore, and Nick Sirianni during the bye week because the Hurts turnovers have killed this team. Not just with the eye test, not just with the feel and the momentum of any given football game, but it's impacted wins and losses throughout his career as a starting quarterback. When Hurts has played a clean brand of football, the Eagles have won games. Philadelphia is now 11-1 when Hurts does not turn the football over and give it away to the opposition. And when teams lose a turnover battle in the National Football League, they lose about 80% of the time. So when teams win the turnover battle, they win about 80% of the time. Now, do we have a couple of issues in the aftermath of this game? No doubt. And I'm not taking blame away from anybody, right? Do the Eagles need to start faster? For sure. But Hurts played well against a very tough defense that is coached very well. And I know that they were down a couple of safeties, but that is still an extremely well-coached and disciplined defense that the Cleveland Browns have. Last year, they were one of the top defensive units in the National Football League. And how did Hurts fare against the blitz? Against Todd Bowles in Tampa Bay, as Charles Barkley would say, terrible. But against the Browns, he was blitzed on 53.6% of his dropbacks. And against pressure, he was 6 of 12, 105 yards, and both of his touchdowns, one to A.J. Brown, one to Devontae Smith, came against the blitz. And this year, Hurts against the blitz, he has made some massive improvements from a year ago. A lot of that is due to the change in offensive scheme, play designs, play calling, even though I think Kellen Moore is still running this vanilla, mundane, predictable Nick Sirianni offense for the most part, but they've solved at least something against the blitz. And these numbers do include Hurts being bad against Tampa Bay. But against the blitz this year, Hurts is 33 of 51. He's completing 64.5% of his passes, 402 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. He has a passer rating of 106.8. Yards per attempt, just under 8 and an EPA of plus 13.5. That's pretty good. As for the offensive changes that I want to see the Eagles implement moving forward, the Eagles have to start fast for once. That was something they did so well back in 2022. But the Eagles this year are the only team in the NFL that hasn't scored in the first quarter. Can't continue to happen because it's not sustainable. I want to see more pre-snap motion. We saw it in week 1 against Green Bay. Those pre-snap motion numbers have gone down since then. I want to see more route tree variety. This offense can't manufacture explosive plays through the pass game on A.J. Brown go balls, and you can't be overly reliant on that because it's not a highly efficient play. Can we see some crossers? Can we see some diversity to the route trees for A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith? They're capable of running any route on the route trees. So put your players in a position to succeed and allow them to be dangerous and pose more threats to the opposing defense. Target the middle area of the field. The Eagles didn't do that last year. They haven't done it a ton this year. They've done it a little bit. And yesterday when they did, 45-yard catch and run for Devontae Smith. And even if the run game does not work on a drive or two, stay committed to the run game because it opens up everything for Jalen Hurts, makes his job easier, and Saquon Barkley is really special. So if you were encouraged yesterday by Jalen Hurts' play, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. Let your voices be heard digitally here. If not, that's fine. You can disagree, but I want you to comment why. Today's Eagles Now, sponsored by our friends at Game Time. If you're looking for the best seats at the lowest price guaranteed, download the Game Time app. Game Time specializes in last-minute tickets, so the more that you wait until the start of the event, prices drop as the event gets closer, and you're guaranteed to get in the door with the best vantage point at the best price point. You can see the view from your seat before you buy, so then once you get to the event, you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. Thanks to Game Time Picks, curation makes it easier to find tickets to sporting events so that you can be a part of some really special atmospheres and put together great memories and root on your Eagles. This isn't just an app for sporting events. If you want to go to concerts, comedy shows, theater events, you can do that and find those events on the Game Time app. If you want to see the Eagles on the road against the New York Giants, big NFC East tilt, Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Plenty of tickets available at MetLife Stadium. So download the app, create an account, use the code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Terms apply. First purchase only. We move forward on today's show. Another big takeaway for Philadelphia getting this victory against the Browns. Philadelphia's young defensive backs can play. First-round pick Quinyon Mitchell has been balling all year, and in his first start as a pro, Cooper DeJean brought it, and he popped on tape against Cleveland. He was making plays all across the yard, and he made his impact be felt. Cooper DeJean was arguably the best defensive player on the field for this Eagles defense on Sunday. He registered 52 snaps, 90% for the game. He had 6 total tackles, 2 quarterback pressures, 1 quarterback hit, a half sack, and he forced 2 sacks. And I loved how Vic Fangio used him. He got the start in the slot over Avonte Maddox, whose best days are behind him. Father Time is undefeated. And Vic Fangio used Cooper DeJean as a blitzer from the corner. He's a terrific athlete. This is what he did at Iowa. He was a Swiss Army knife, so put him in a position where he can make plays. And there were a couple of moments in that game against Cleveland where DeJean really popped in real time upon watching that game back on tape. My favorite play that Cooper DeJean made came at a critical time. When the Browns in the fourth quarter are in the red zone, it's 1st and goal, the Eagles are up by 7, the Browns tie the game with the touchdown. You see Deshaun Watson in the shotgun here. A little bit of a creative look from Kevin Stefanski. You have a little bit of a pistol back here, and then there's a back flank to Deshaun Watson's left. You have a receiver at the top of the formation and a receiver, Amari Cooper, at the bottom of the formation. The red circle is where Cooper DeJean is. playing corner, hybrid linebacker, little safety look. Obviously, when the field gets condensed, it's a little bit different. Regardless, I want you to look at where Cooper DeJean started the play, how he's able to diagnose what happens here, how he's able to read what is transpiring, and how you already know that right after the ball was snapped, Cooper DeJean knows where this play is going, and he's on a dead sprint to try to get to the receiver here, who is Elijah Moore, who's coming out of the backfield. So Watson fakes the handoff. He then boots to his right, and Cooper DeJean is able to sniff this play out. And Elijah Moore goes into the flat. Reed Blankenship is behind him on this play, but you see number 33, who is all over this. And this could have easily gone for a touchdown if Elijah Moore is able to catch this football, get upfield, and DeJean either got picked off by, I believe, Jerry Jeudy, who's at the goal line, or wasn't able to read what was happening here. So a critical juncture of the game, and we go to the next slide, and Cooper DeJean makes this tackle after a minimal gain, and we know what happened. Browns couldn't find the end zone. This is the second game this year in which the Eagles defense has not allowed the offense to find the end zone, and it's all because Cooper DeJean read and diagnosed that play. Those are the instincts that Cooper DeJean has as a player in this league, as a rookie nonetheless. A couple more plays that really impressed me. The corner blitzes, of course, but how about how he was able to run step for step with Jerry Jeudy, and when Deshaun Watson tried to throw that deep ball to Jeudy in the end zone, great technique from DeJean, great speed. He did what you're supposed to do, and he drove Jeudy toward that sideline and didn't give Watson a throwing lane. My comp for Cooper DeJean is Trent McDuffie. And I had said last week, I want to see Vic Fangio use DeJean like Trent McDuffie. McDuffie was an all-pro last year under Steve Spagnuolo. And he had 448 snaps out of the slot, 300 snaps at corner, 158 snaps in the box, 68 snaps along the defensive line. Yesterday, what did we see? Vic Fangio was using Cooper DeJean everywhere. I'm glad that Vic Fangio watches us here on Eagles Now because we inform everybody who watches this program. And then the impact on special teams for Cooper DeJean. 4 punt returns, 51 yards, 12.8 yards per punt return, and a long of 19. So he contributed on defense, and he contributed on special teams. And now you have your first 2 picks in the 2024 NFL Draft who look to be serious building blocks for Howie Roseman and this Eagles organization. DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell were targeted a combined 7 times by Cleveland. They gave up 2 catches for 24 yards and a passer rating allowed of 56.2. And Quinyon Mitchell this year is playing at a Pro Bowl level. No cap. Overall PFF grade of 72.1, coverage grade of 73.3, a passer rating allowed of 82.8, 189 coverage snaps, 2 pass breakups. He has 6 passes defended, which is 8th in the National Football League. And if it weren't for C.J. Gardner-Johnson colliding with him, Mitchell would have had his first career interception. And as we know so far this year, he's been so close to picking some passes off. Great sign for this Eagles team moving forward on the defensive side of the football because Howie Roseman has struggled to draft and develop defensive talent. Number 3, the Eagles pass rush dominated, and they should have dominated against a Browns team that was 30th in points per game, 32nd in yards per game, 32nd in yards per play, worst red zone, or one of the worst red zone offenses. Actually, they were good in the red zone, bad on third downs, but for a team that was giving up more than 5 sacks per game, this was a game in which the defensive line, in which the Eagles have invested in financially and via the draft, had to bring it, they had to dominate, and they did. 5 sacks against Deshaun Watson. He was under duress, guys in his face, on his back, all over him all day. 10 quarterback hits for this Eagles team, 0 touchdowns given up. No touchdowns given up against the Saints, no touchdowns given up against the Browns. Now, against the Bucks, Falcons, and Packers, yeah, this Eagles defense has struggled a little bit. But man, Vic Fangio is a good enough coach where you can tell he's trying to find the identity of his defense. If this defense can play like they did against Cleveland, bad offense, but still good performance, and against New Orleans, a pretty good offense, it just makes the offense's job a lot easier. And I loved what Nick Fangio did, dialing up the pressure. Because really, he brought some pressure against Green Bay, didn't do it against Atlanta, did it against New Orleans, didn't do it against Tampa Bay, did it against Cleveland. Stick with what works. And the Eagles' sack production on Sunday was good. You had Josh Sweat registering a sack, Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter, 2 first-round picks who were able to get home to the quarterback. Cooper DeJean, a half sack but helped force 2. Bryce Huff, finally out of the witness protection program, half sack for him. Milton Williams, Thomas Booker, a half sack. Team total, 5. And I had said yesterday, Moro Ajomo, Milton Williams, Thomas Booker, why not give them more snaps over Jordan Davis, who is so inconsistent and up and down and should be much more dominant for him being 6'6", 340. And then lastly, this is big. A.J. Brown returned to this Eagles offense. He dominated. He's the most valuable player, I think, on this Eagles offense because the pass game just doesn't go without him. And Devontae Smith's a really good player. Dallas Goedert's an excellent tight end. Saquon Barkley is a special player. But without A.J. Brown, this offense just simply is not the same explosive unit via the aerial attack. And he comes back with the boom. 9 targets, 6 catches, 116 yards, a touchdown, 19.3 yards per catch. He can simply do everything. The contested catch ability downfield on the touchdown and the dagger throw. And I loved how Jalen Hurts audible to that play to go with the kill shot. And you hope that he can stay healthy because A.J. Brown helps this offense pick up more yards. He gives them explosive plays in the pass game. He alters this scoreboard with how the Eagles are able to score as far as their scoring output, and he is a threat anytime he is on the field. Just a really special player who's so strong, so gifted, and has a really good connection with Hurts. I mean, this is now the 3rd year in which they've been together, in which that deep ball has been working. If you enjoyed today's show, type real one. Hopefully you found it informative, a little bit entertaining, very insightful, and you had some fun and you let your voices be heard. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. We appreciate all of the real ones.